Hello and welcome to the channel, and as you can see we have come to an end on this three-part series between Ser and Estar, so hopefully you have a whole rounded vision and have learned when to use each. But today's lesson is very important because we are going to have a look at the differences when we're using ser to describe someone and when we use estar and using adjectives and their different meaning. But for today's lesson, most of it at least, I'm going to take myself off the screen and I'm going to leave you with a full screen so that you can fully focus on this. I will see you at the end of this first part, in which we will go over some key points that you need to remember when using ser and estar, and a few other things that I have in store. So vamos con el video. So I'll explain how this lesson will go. We are going to see when we're going to use ser, when we're going to use estar. Then we're going to have some examples using the same adjectives and looking at the different meanings that adjective will have when we use ser and when we use estar. And last but not least, we have a test, so you can test your knowledge after this session. So let's go ahead and start. So we're going to use ser. Obviously both can be used, as I said, with certain adjectives, but we're going to use ser when we are talking about permanent qualities of somebody. So for example, Marcos es muy joven. So Marcos is very young. Or ella es delgada. She's thin. Hacer las tareas es cansado. So doing chores is tiring. La historia no es aburrida. So the history is not boring. Those are permanent things, permanent qualities, as opposed to estar, which we're going to use for temporary states or qualities. So for example, está radiante con ese vestido. She looks radiant in that dress. Ella está delgada. She's looking very slim. So we have here one example. So ella es delgada. She is thin. But when we're using estar, we are implying that she is currently looking very slim or very thin. Estamos cansados. We are tired at this point. We are tired. We're not tired all the time. So, estoy aburrido. I am bored. Let's have a look at ser again. We are also going to use ser with adjectives such as importante, imposible, complicado, difícil, fácil. The key thing here is that we're going to use it when the subject is it in English. So it is important, es importante. It is impossible, es imposible. Or it is possible, es posible. It is difficult, es difícil. Or it's easy, es fácil. It's complicated, es complicado. You get it. And we're going to use estar in set sentences, which are right here. For example, estar de pie, which means to be standing. Estar de vacaciones, to be on holiday. Estar de viaje, to be on a trip. Estar de moda, to be trendy, to be on trend. Estar claro, to be obvious. Está claro. Brilliant. Let's have a look at some differences between ser and estar and the different meanings that we can have while we're using the same adjective. So for example, el vino español es bueno, meaning the Spanish wine is good. Or el vino español está bueno, which will mean the wine or the Spanish wine tastes good. Okay, so es bueno is good, está bueno, taste good. Carla es buena. we're implying Carla is a good person. As opposed to Carla está buena, which means that she's fit, she's hot, she has a great body. So es buena, we're describing a quality or inherent quality of Carla, she's a good person, or Carla está buena, we're implying that she's hot, she's fit, and she's a great body. Marcos es listo. So Marcos is clever. And if we use estar, the meaning is completely different. So Marcos está listo. Marcos is ready. So ser listo, to be clever. Estar listo, to be ready. Mi coche es nuevo. My car is new. And if we use estar, we're implying that it looks like new. It is not new, but it does look like new. So mi coche está nuevo. Los aguacates son verdes. So the avocados are green. But if we use estar, it means that they're not ready, they're not ripe. Los aguacates están verdes. Let's have a look at two more examples. Mis padres son viejos. My parents are old. Mis padres están viejos. My parents look old. Ricardo es malo. So again, we're using ser, which means we're describing a quality of somebody. Ricardo is bad, is a bad person, behaves badly. Or Ricardo está malo. When we're using estar malo, means you're sick or you're ill. Brilliant. Ready for the quiz? We've got a few questions here, so let's have a look at it together and then I'll give you the answer one by one. ¿Cuál es la opción correcta? Which is the correct option? María, something muy lista. Siempre saca buenas notas. Muy lista. Siempre saca buenas notas. Siempre, always, sacar buenas notas to get good marks. So I'll give you a second and let me know which one do you think is the correct one. The correct answer is María es muy lista. Siempre saca buenas notas. Let's have a look at another one. Este café, so this coffee, este café, something muy bueno hoy. It tastes very good today. Tiene un sabor especial. It has a special taste or flavor. So, este café muy bueno hoy tiene un sabor especial. Is it going to be está? Is it going to be es? Or is it going to be está siendo? And the correct answer is está. Este café está muy bueno hoy. Tiene un sabor especial. El chico muy guapo con ese traje nuevo. So the boy is very handsome or looks very handsome with this new suit. Traje, suit, nuevo, new, muy guapo, very handsome. So is it going to be está? Is it going to be es? Or is it going to be ha sido? The correct answer is está. El chico está muy guapo con ese traje nuevo. I hope you enjoyed the first part of this video. Let's now have a look at the key points that you need to take from this three-part series. Point number one is ser and estar are both to be in English, but as you have seen, they are used very differently. Number two key point that you need to take is that ser and estar are both irregular verbs in Spanish, so you do need to learn the conjugation of them. Number three, we use ser to describe qualities or characteristics that are more permanent in a person or inherent in somebody. We're also going to use the verb ser with times and dates,
We use ser to form the passive. Número 4, number 4, we are going to use the verb estar to talk about location, health, and to describe situations or people, characteristics, and so on that are changing or have changed. And we are also going to use estar with the past participle, which brings me nicely to point number 5. We are going to use estar to form continuous tenses like the present continuous or the past continuous, as we saw in the part 2 of this series when we went over the uses of the verb estar. You can check it if you need to do a little refresh here. Number 7 is that ser and estar can often be used with the same adjective, but as we've learned today, there will be a difference in the meaning. And last but not least, ser and estar will be used with set sentences like we've seen in today's video. Like in the previous 2-part series, you can buy me a coffee and download today's lesson with the grammar, more examples, exercises, and the answers. So head over there if you want to practice what you have learned in this series. I hope you like it. If you did, give me a thumbs up and subscribe if you don't want to miss any more videos that I'm coming onto this channel. Nos vemos en el próximo video. Hasta pronto.